So first of all, um, I started this protocol 3 days ago, and I had some problems here around here with the skin, and it completely vanished. It completely vanished, and I think you're gonna like this protocol. So it's not that difficult. It's pretty simple. The idea is you switch away from normal food to herbal, low pH or high pH, sorry, like a neutral alkaline soups and teas. It doesn't have to be always alkaline, but the idea is the following. Is basically that instead of eating dry food like grains and things like that, you start to eat wet food. Wet food basically means and things that don't push up your your glycemic index too far. So what you want to do is, for example, it's not going to look that great what I'm going to show you right now, but this is buckwheat, okay? And I just cooked it as a form of like a stew or a soup. And there's a couple of things behind it. It's more like an intuitive thing, and it already worked within 3 days. My skin is much, 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 much better. So the idea is that with every meal that you take a lot of kind of water with you with that meal, but not as a separate drink, but basically because it's a stew or a soup. So it's like wet food, you could say. And so never eat dry food, just wet food. And it's interesting because if you think about it, like nuts have phytic acid, and if you leave them overnight in water, the phytic acid bonds break up, and so the minerals are better absorbed, like magnesium, iron, and so forth. And so wet food in general is better than dry food in a lot of ways, and it goes for all grains and seeds. So what I suggest here is, for example, a buckwheat soup, okay, with a lot of water, and then just have herbs in it. So we're not just talking soups and teas, but we're talking herbal soups and herbal teas. The idea is that with every meal, you get tons of water with you that is structured, in layman terms, I'm going to call it structured, that is structured with herbs that are anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, antibacterial, all of that stuff. And so in this soup, I have turmeric, I have pepper. Turmeric is one of the most powerful foods anyway. And then I also have, I don't know what they're called in English. It's cloves. They're called cloves, I think. Clavo in Spanish. Can see from here. Cloves, which are very, very good for various things also. So cloves are in there as well. And that's pretty much it. Now I could have a little bit of organic chicken if I wanted to, or organic salmon. I could have a little bit of, salt in it or something like that. And then you want to have also maybe some green stuff. So you want to have oregano, or what is it called in English? Well, these different green thingies. One is called, I'm gonna think about it later, but it's like a small plant, just like oregano and thyme also, for example. You can put in thyme, depends on what you like, or what you want at that moment, like an intuitive feeling of what you want to eat. And that's pretty much it. That's your food for the day. So it's not something super elaborate, but it's very herbal based. It's a lot of water based. It's basically hi Rituparna. Hi. So the idea is going away from dry foods and then drinking water to only eating soups and stews. I don't know if there is a culture in the world that does that, but I figured it's super simple, the idea. The idea is, first of all, that you get a lot of water in there, and the water is already filled with antibacterial, antimicrobial, whatever This channel's underrated. Thank you. It is. I think it is. But um I'm not going to complain. The thing is, like, when I share info that already works for me, I already had the benefit. So whether people are there that also want to take in the benefit, that's up to them. But I already had the benefit because I'm already doing it. The same with awakening. I already had the benefit of awakening, you could say. So I can share it, but if others don't want it, it doesn't matter because I already had the benefit. So, and buckwheat, buckwheat is alkaline. So basically, it doesn't push up, your pH, or it doesn't lower your pH. I mean, it doesn't make you more acidic. And so that's very, very simple. Now, if you wanted to make it, yes, I'm in a camper van. I travel 2 years now in a camper. I do van life. So if I wanted to make this more interesting, I could put in a little bit of ginger. Actually, I wanted to buy ginger. Let me write this down because I have a list here that I'm going to buy today. So ginger. So if you could put in a little bit of ginger, you could put in a little bit of coconut milk or something like that, just a little bit, just to make it more tasty. Actually, this could use a little bit of fat because then the turmeric is better absorbed. And I think this is something that we can use nowadays because there's a new, better chat GPT. It's called Claude.ai. Claude, like French Claude. And you can ask it a lot of stuff on health and it will answer you a little bit better than ChatGPT. So I ask it a lot of stuff like, for example, red beets. For example, I was eating red beets yesterday. I was asking, was it good? What is it good for? And then the cloves, what is it good for? And you can use that to start to mix and figure out. For example, I said, if I wanted to improve the absorption of what's good in cloves, what should I do? And then it gives me tips and it says, okay, use a little bit of pepper, you put in the turmeric, have some fat in there as well. And so as you start doing that, using the AI to optimize your food, basically combinations, so you're basically making your own recipes. You're not going by some strange recipe. You're really building your own recipes. And I think these stews then kind of coat your stomach, they coat your intestines, ascending, transverse, and descending colon, and it just gives you a totally different basis than if you eat, for example, a raw steak. Because I have a feeling, and this is where comes from, this idea. I have a feeling. My idea is, and Brian Johnson said the same thing, that food actually is not healthy for you. Let me explain. With everything that you eat, you're also eating other things. You're not eating just the good thing. You're obviously also eating the bad things in it. So if you have, let's say you have chicken, regular chicken from mass produce, there's going to be antibiotics and so forth, and a lot of other things. And plus the horrible emotions that the animal went through when it died, and all of this stuff, that's all there. And no matter what you eat, you can't really avoid it nowadays. So even if it's vegetables, they're probably sprayed in some form or fashion, unless you eat everything organic, and even then it's not 100% sure. Nowadays you can't even touch an orange because it's been blasted with insecticides and pesticides. You shouldn't even, when you peel it, you shouldn't even touch it, basically. All of these things. And so what I recommend is that you start to think of food going away from regular food, because as you consume the regular food, the bad things, especially if you have leaky gut, which most people have nowadays, but the bad things also enter your body. So I eat a chicken, and I eat the good things come in the body and the bad things come in the body. And then my body's fighting against it. But what happens if I start to eat herbal stews and soups, which basically are coated in lots of good stuff? Then naturally, you're going to get healthier and healthier and healthier and healthier, at least to the extent better than if you had not done it. And so, like I said, I'm on the third day. We'll see, like in 10 to 20 days, the stronger results of this. You have to use a little bit of your intuition, but I think you should have a rack of organic herbs, all kinds of herbs, ideally fresh. If you don't have them fresh, at least dried, and have like a rack of them and start to learn what they're good for. Be it from thyme to parsley. Parsley is the word that I was looking for. To parsley, to oregano. Literally learn all these things. A lot of cooks, especially in France, for example, a lot of cooks, French cooks are amazing. Like, if you meet a French person that knows how to cook, let's say like this. Most French people know how to cook, and if they cook amazing. And they put in these, for example, around the Pyrenees, you have tons of organic food produce, lots of organic herbs, wild herbs that you can eat, organic honey, and all of this stuff. It's absolutely crazy. I love France, especially this Pyrenees region, and then Avignon, but I like the south more. So, and by the way, there's not a coincidence that in the Gard region, which is next to Toulouse, the most centurions that become over 100 years old in percentage to the population are in France. That means this region is just super healthy in general. So, and OPC, by the way, also improves your skin a lot. Like the uvas, how do you say uvas? The wine, grape. The grape is grape seed extract. And so I have what I have now in my van. I have a small box, like an IKEA box, and I put in all of the herbal stuff, the supplements, and I put all in there. Now, I want to say, go with natural supplements. Don't go with chemical supplements. So if I buy, for example, a huge pack of organic turmeric, that for me is natural, logically. If I buy, something pressed by a pharmaceutical, I might have a vitamin B12 or something, but I still don't prefer it in comparison, to something organic. And I think, and I've heard this also from a woman that worked with Nityananda. I'm not a big fan of Nityananda, but there was a girl, and she was giving like readings, like almost like psychic readings about people's health. And I noticed one interesting thing. Basically, every second thing she said was, you don't drink enough. You don't have, she said like you have water, you're missing water in your body, something like that. And that was a few years ago that I remember her. She was pretty young and she was reading those people. I don't care if it was fake or not, but I thought about it and I was like, maybe we're all dehydrated. Maybe we're literally all dehydrated. And so we need to do a couple of things. We need to do no fap. We need to rehydrate with the soups and with the teas, herbal soups and herbal teas. And we need to, so no fap, that's for men, that's a given. That's important, especially as we get older. The protocol, I'm going to share the protocol, by the way. I'm going to put it in the book. I think that's a good idea. I'm going to put the protocol in the book because I wrote it down today in German, but I haven't translated yet to any other language. So I put the protocol in the book that I'm doing now. And added to that, listening to Mooji, because I noticed the more I listen to Mooji and let go of the idea of personhood, the more fears and energies which are limiting. You're basically, one could say you're suppressing prana, you're suppressing chi energy by having trauma still stored in your psychoenergetic field. That means the moment that you awaken more to the self, the more you release actually the prana, and your body works actually better than if you hold the trauma in your psychoenergetic field. And we unconsciously hold the trauma back. That's why people, when they go in vipassana, a lot of people don't know this, but when you go into vipassana or you go to a retreat like that, like a satsang, that's why a lot of people cry, because they stop to hold the trauma back, which was all the time in their psychoenergetic field. They just can't explain it. They don't know what's happening. But I can explain it because I really understand what's happening in the body. And I think this is literally the future of healthy eating. I do believe, like these herbal soups and herbal stews and herbal teas, that's literally the future of eating. And this whole idea of this mass produced and dry food, I'm just going to call dry and wet food. I think that's the simplest way to explain it. Wet herbal food, basically. And there is a theory that you shouldn't drink when you're eating, because the stomach acid can better work on whatever you've been eating when there's no water. But I don't think that relates to stews and soups. I think that relates more to like clear water. And but I can't say that 100%, but I'm going to observe my body. All I can say is that within 3 days my skin improved so much. Like insane. So and there's a couple of things to not do. So grains, completely cutting out grains, because I believe they act which means also bread, because that works inflammatory in your body. And I think also cutting out milk products. So I go for organic goat milk, and I enjoy that a lot. Some people don't like the taste. And I think becoming hyper aware of what each food does to your stomach and what it does to your intestines. Be really like hyper aware. The moment you eat it, the moment you smell it, the moment you put it in your mouth, the moment you chew it, the moment you swallow it, what happens 20, 30 minutes after you eat it, all of that becomes super aware, and then start to refine it. And your body doesn't need that much to survive. So you can be very minimalistic in the beginning with it and really look at what's happening. And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do, like high intuition eating and observing. And the idea about protein, I want to say that very specifically. It's an absolute lie that you can just live vegan. It's impossible. And people who are vegan, they need to supplement. And I think if you balance it out, that means if I take, for example, this, and I make it a little bit better, even with coconut and stuff and ginger, and then I put in a chicken, then, or I put in salmon, for example, then the power it gives me, the chi power, the prana and everything is much, the physical power also is much, much, much higher than if I just eat vegan or vegetarian. 100%. and I have a very, very strong, clear feeling inside of the body of what's happening. So I don't recommend complete vegan or complete vegetarian. I don't recommend it. But figure out what you like there the most, what you like the least, and you can always find like a middle ground somewhere. For example, some foods have zinc is tremendously important, and the two foods that have tremendous amount of zinc are meat, like lamb, and oysters. I'm talking about food and skin health and just general body health. But I'm almost finished. So I do recommend eating meat as well, and I'm going to let you know on this channel as I progress with my herbal stew, herbal soup, and herbal tea regimen diet on how it affects my body. And I can only say positive things. And by the way, haritaki and trifala are also part of this. Green tea extract, well, I'm going to put out the protocol, but so there's a lot of different herbs that you can take. The green tea extract is also very powerful. I have cat's claw uña de gato, which is from the Amazon, from the Peruvian Amazon, a plant, boosts your immune system, things like that. So I can show you my box or make you a list or both. Yeah, there's probably other stuff that I just forgotten right now that I've in there. And that's it for now. Subscribe if you like. Subscribe right now if you haven't yet, and see you later.